Hello, this is Tom Gleason, and welcome to the second episode in this ResourceSpace video series. The goal of this series is to provide visual demonstrations of ResourceSpace features, as well as to share the administration techniques that I've come across in my years of working with ResourceSpace. In the first episode, I introduced you to ResourceSpace, the free and open-source, web-based digital asset management system. In this episode, you'll become familiar with the configuration file and some examples of out-of-the-box configuration options for altering the basic look and feel of the site, starting from a default installation of the most recent subversion checkout. At the time of this recording, I'm working with SVN revision 1632. First thing you should know if you're interested in getting the most out of ResourceSpace is that you'll want to spend some time getting familiar with the default configuration file, which is called config.default.php in the include folder. There are several hundred configuration options currently set in this file, and more are added all the time to accommodate new needs. The file you will modify is config.php, which allows you to override the config.default.php file with your own custom settings. I'm going to demonstrate some of the more visible configuration options to give you a basic idea of how this works. To keep it quick, I'll simply paste each new config into config.php and show you how it affects the site. Let's start with the home page. By default, there are 3 color theme chips at the bottom of the page, which allow a user to select a color theme. If you're going to brand your site, I recommend that you choose one of the pre-existing color themes to start with, blue, gray, black, or white, gray, and fix it in place with the configuration option User Fix Theme. Notice that the theme is now fixed as the blue-gray theme, and the color theme chips have been removed from the bottom of the page. Now, in order to change the home page animation, I've added JPEG files cropped to 517 by 350 pixels and saved as 1.jpg, 2.jpg, etc. You can add as many as you like to a folder with a name of your own choosing next to gfx/homeanim/gfx. I'm setting the config option for homeanim folder to point to my own demo folder, and the website will now display my custom homepage animation. I'm going to disable the themes functionality in my installation by setting enable themes equals false. Notice that the themes panel disappears as well as the link to the themes in the header. You can create your own custom homepage panels. This can be useful to create links to custom pages or special searches. I'll add a couple links to general searches for China and Indonesia images. I'm also going to remove the default help and collections panels. And the custom panels appear, which provide straightforward access to my vacation imagery from the homepage. Recently I've been hired to improve the ability to customize the display of fields in the search results. It used to be that there was a title and country field hard-coded into the display. This is how the program was originally designed, and although there were always ways to get around this, it is now becoming easier than ever to configure. For example, I'm going to add the file name field, which by default is field 51, to the list display, and also customized file size and date fields. You can see that the thumbnail display now contains the title, country, and file size, and the list display now shows the title, country, original file name, and file size as sortable columns. By the way, this file size sorting requires the use of EXIF tool and a couple of simple plugin files. The method is described on the wiki. Since my site will only contain photos, no documents, audio, or video, I can remove the resource type column from the list view. I also removed the default date column since I added my own with a custom value filter to make the date display in a more familiar way. As you can see, the removal of the default columns has provided me with more space for my own custom displays. If you're using the pop-up information box, you might also want to set the fields displayed there. I want to add the file name field underneath the title, since I didn't include it in the thumbnail display. Another recent improvement made possible by a generous sponsor is the ability to add text fields to the contact sheet. I'm going to add the title, original file name, and file size, and decrease the font sizes to make it look a little classier, and to ensure that more text can fit in the limited space available. Here's an example of my newly configured contact sheet with the file information included. There are a few more options I'd like to share. Notice on the view page how there's a Find Similar tool, which allows you to search on the keywords of that file. It's generally useful out of the box, but it can be configured further as well. For now though, I'm just going to turn this feature off. The search bar can be configured in several ways as well. Let's say I want the ability to search for a particular day, not just month. By adding search by day, I can find out which pictures I took on October 15th. I'll show you more ways to configure this and various other search engine capabilities in a future episode. Finally, there are a handful of interesting options for configuring collections displays, which I'd like to share today. You can show the title of a collection when it is viewed by turning on Display Collection Title. Now, when viewing a collection, it shows the title of that collection at the top of the search page. If I turn on Collection Resize, then log out, then log back in, the collections frame becomes resizable, which is preferable for some users. View Resource Collections is an experimental feature which displays the available collections that a resource is included in on its view page. As you can see with this option, when I view a resource, I can see which collections it is currently used in. If you have a special need to display resources in a particular order within collections, you can turn on Collection Reorder Caption. This is useful, for example, if you want to arrange a contact sheet in a particular order. If I want a particular resource to come first on the sheet, I can simply rearrange the collection. It is also possible to rearrange the collection in the search view. This option is currently bound up with a collection commenting feature, which might also be useful for some purposes. And the last option I'd like to show is quite experimental, but I think it's interesting. This is Use Checkboxes for Selection, which I think adds more sense of context to the concept of collections. Notice that when I check or uncheck a box, the resource is added or removed from the current collection. Changing the collection updates the checkbox in the search view, so you can easily get a sense of which of your search results have been added to the collection or not. So that concludes this presentation. I hope that you found some interesting possibilities here, and now have a better sense of how configurable ResourceSpace is becoming to serve your digital asset management needs. Of course, if you find that ResourceSpace is benefiting or can benefit you or your organization, I ask that you assist in the development process however you can. You can help by participating in the Google group, or by getting in contact with me or one of the other developers to discuss possibilities for funding the further development of this freely available software.